was giving some points to all of you. Just going to start. But I also wish you all, I hope you come to some kind of routine in the future. Like, this whole practice is like to enter a certain plane of consciousness, of being. All this when you're driving and all that in your daily activities, we call that particular world the Gnanaloka, the world of senses, the five senses. So when you're in that, only all these problems are there. But when you go out from that, that's where all the relationships, family, that you're in America, that you're doing this, you're eating that type of food. This is the world of the senses, five senses. So sometimes you learn to leave those five senses and go. There's a plane, that's why there's an effect you have to get. It's no point just, you have to get that effect like you're going to a fridge, You feel cool and peaceful. So it's not one, it's a whole life way how you do things. You reserve energy. But it's not only just, not even talking a lot, you drain a lot of energy. The imagination, in the toilet and everywhere, think of this, that. You only have this body, and that's the only function you're doing. And to keep on imagining, you're draining energy. But we don't realize that, because we were never having energy anytime. So this is my meditation time actually. Just said no programs in the afternoon. But I hope you get some feeling. It's where I normally go into my cave. But I hope you get some idea. This is your time to do a retreat, So, where you silence, Now, when you silence, what happens people today normally? Like this. That is their silence. So the weakness of the mind. Just, the mind is so weak. Same way anger, sleep, greed, all working. There's no strength. There's no strength when you hold on to an object. That comes also with character. That means you develop a certain power in your faculties. So, I'm telling you, we have to develop, we have to set a standard and say we are, to be firm in this. And if you are driving, no, I'm not going to be distracted. To put that determination to you. Every day you are getting an opportunity, and it's a time to master this. Otherwise, when are we going to get this chance? Take the chance we got to really put a determination. And so I normally tell sleepiness and all the drowsiness, other than your time you sleep. You see, I think better to try that meditation near a cliff or somewhere, Get onto a wall, other side will fall. You will never fall asleep. So because of that, intensity is not in you. And just sit down and then just go like that. And then your thought just, it's a command you give. You see how serious it is. That is, so when you give like that, so when you control in one aspect, it begins to affect all other aspects. But I noticed one thing, in this part is not, in Sri Lanka it is tough. The people, you can see why. Here you are in a certain degree, you have some energy. That's why I normally say, who are out of Sri Lanka, they are the cream of Sri Lankans. So some good point, right? Okay. Because I think they have some good karma also really to be, and then too, they also have to work hard. That virya is quite helpful. Only it has to be channeled to the other way. and you become a minority, right? Then that's another blessing. And then you have a lot of, when you're a minority, you really have to stand on your 2 feet. So in Sri Lanka, you have I also think it was good I went out of Sri Lanka when I was young. So that definitely had an effect. So, I told you about, would you like to try a little bit meditation? Why not? You can try with me, Yes? I feel very absorbed in it. So, this is the habit, like if you learn to sleep at say 12 o'clock, when 12 o'clock comes, sleepiness comes. When you have a routine where you are doing certain practice that time, I'm enjoying this, You just try a few minutes, okay? Let's see, alright? If you feel your mind is running, we'll talk to you. But we are talking, all this is done to experience this, you see? Start talking about the recipe. Now the cooking time, and eating nicely. This is where, even if progress through all these places, I would like to meet you and some of my brother monks in the Aranya, you see. They be always talking of the teaching, this, that, Patishampa, that I had, this, that, and arguing and all that. So I avoid all this company. And I thought, it's not doing it, just do it, be alone, go away. This is also a program, this is not advisable for any monk. I'm doing after so many years, not doing actually, never doing it, just first time coming out. You have to be away, no talking, no meeting for months. Then only your inner thing will get. Those days after enlightenment, only 1 or 2 words. Some of them, near the riverbed, they were spending in the hut. Teraterigata, if you read the old stories of the original way, how they achieved this. They were saints. The Devatas knew, they worshipped them. Today very difficult to find any like that. But I think still it's not lost. Still a certain remnant is going. Something the last, I would say, I feel like it's like a last chance, but better use it. Do a little bit, okay? Just wait. It's okay? hearts and mind. කවුතරෙන් දිගටම අධිෂ්ඨාන වෙන්න ජීවිතේ. ආශ්‍රම වලදී තපස්ස. ජීවිතේ වටිනාම විදියට තමයි කියන්නේ. ඒක තමයි නියම ඇමරිකා. Sorry, you want me to speak in English, right? No, I think I'd like to speak in Sinhalese. I don't know. Like I was telling. But after some time, you get certain experiences. You settle like an elephant being tamed. From the forest, when it's brought first time, that being in a restricted, or it looks like prison and difficulty or suffering. But when the mind is trained, the mind is purified, it is happy, just happy, no reason. You don't need to be going this and that. Do this, do that. It's a funny thing, you know. And at a point, even when you're very old, you want to do this, that, and then you can't do the physical body. And then you get upset, you get bedridden, angry with the people who are looking after, and not so much suffering that time. But when you are, sometimes you get even addicted to the work, like going to that office and some working area, going, coming, and the mind gets a delight from that. And when you are doing that, you feel bored. I know some drivers who are like, when they're not driving, they feel they're not addicted to that, that activity going. And suddenly they have to stay for some health reason for a few days. They're waiting to go. They feel like they can't stay in the room, in the home and all that. Even people who are addicted, some are addicted to the city. I don't know if they have, they say we want to get a rest, this is too busy on that. But they go to some lonely place in Sri Lanka, some of them. And then after a few days they are waiting to come back. Some cannot stand the city. That's another addiction for silence and all that. So they just can't stay with all that bombardment, they need that. So to be free from all this, it's very peaceful. That is the purified mind. Yeah, you can stay in the city, in the silence, any place, no problem. You have touched that, you touch that point of the brain. Yeah, it is. So I'm going to explain now. I was telling that time. One of the main points, how to reduce stress. That out of the four, there's one which we all know normally is mindfulness, and just feeling the very touch of the present moment. Now when I'm holding like this, I should feel what I'm touching here, the pressure areas, this area, and the legs touching, then the leg here. Where you feel predominantly, you note it. You relax. If you're seated, you must enjoy sitting. Don't be in postures where you don't need to suffer. You learn to enjoy the activity you're doing. You get fully absorbed in it. And so that just noting, this is very well known. I was telling before, in the modern world also mindfulness is having a stress busting effect. That is just one. Then I also told about sense control. How you don't look at the details. I showed you how I look like this, I am focused. When I look like this, I am unfocused. Now focus, now no focus, now focus, now no focus, now no focus, now no focus. Operating. So I don't see the details. You see, this is something you'll have to train. This is normally done when you're in a busy area. You must know, like it's a gearbox, you must learn to change first gear, second gear. So when you are very, lot of distractions, the last thing you start practice will be Indriya Samvasi. You can't maybe meditate, you can't do, but you learn not to see unnecessary things, hear unnecessary things. You're going to avoid it. So when you avoid, that is a sila. Avoiding means normally we avoid, to be a sila, you have to avoid something you like. But knowing is dangerous, damaging you. Or now in this case, not like you're going to be put into jail, or even not going to be like 5%. This is damaging your concentration of mind, your meditation. It's not going to damage your normal activity. It is damaging your. When you sit to meditate, now another thing is, for me very nice, all day, the Pindapata, all that, I'm already charged. Now, in our practice normally, we go a little bit, now we don't normally, when we come here, we meditate. Other times we'll be talking with somebody. But these things I did as a lay person also. From the age of 18, actually. I had to go for parties sometimes, because initially, my cousins, my relations, they happened to take me. So I went even Blue Elephant, I don't know whether you know in Hilton that time, or the disco there. Blue Elephant, yeah, that was. So I sat down and I just watched these skeletons dancing. And went to the pool, meditated until 4 o'clock, because I had to wait until these people come. Like that, in the beginning stage, I didn't know, I can tell I don't need to come. Initially, I don't know, I was just practicing, and they're taking me here, we go there, like that I used to go. So, but still I used to keep this practice, separate myself, reserve, because I'm already experiencing a certain feeling of peacefulness. So I knew I'm not inclined naturally, or there are these things, but I go to a corner, quiet place, and used to meditate. I remember there are people used to go to quiet places to take drugs or something. I did too. One party I remember, in Colombo sometimes there are all these, I think misdirected, false things. So these people, sweet touchy or somebody, I don't know, my aunt, some friends, so they were, I remember I went to a corner to avoid the people to meditate. Then these people also came to this corner to see, they were offered, they were trying to do something else. And so like that, initial time I happened to go like that, but then I decided to stop one by one. But all the time, I used to make sure I should do this. So that you have to get that taste, then you don't want to, that's why I said you have to experience a certain plane. Now even, that is samadhi, one is samadhi, the other one is ariya jnana, it's a jnana. It's a ariya bhumi actually. If with insight knowledge, also it's not just insight, it should take you to a plane where raga, greed, hate and delusion are not much, and not by nature, that plane is absent with that. Now, lesser than that, you touch other higher states. It's a very finest thing. So all the purpose is not to see much, just to do the minimum, is to make sure you are going into that, experiencing that. So you must, that's why when you are doing your prayers or meditation in the morning, until you get it, you must not try to do the work. Maitreya, Metta and all that, you should get that experience. But you should not go for, first it's good to analyze, do vipassana and do metta or calm down. Because if you don't have a grasp immediately of the dhyana or samadhi of it, you will go to drowsiness. So good to polish the mind, alert, thinking, like analyzing the rupa, vedana, sannyas, panchupadana skandha, and get some. So that exercise is very good when you are sleeping, especially afternoon meditation. You can see food, when you are taken the food, tasted the food, the reptilian brain works. I will be explaining that now. And then when you activate that reptilian brain, greed for food, tasting it, the whole 5 senses become strong. And then you have sleepiness also coming. It's a reptilian brain. And anger also, if the opportunity comes. So when you control one thing, other things also get controlled. And so now I will explain, because most of you are first time. Now I told you about sense control, okay? I think you are the only one, is it? Who was new, right? I just told about when you're driving. I hope
she was there, but she didn't understand because you were telling in Sinhala.
Yeah, I was telling about this, how to reduce stress, how I taught some of the hosts who are taking me in England. Like they want to know how to meditate while they're doing the work. So I just told them how just to feel the touch of the hand with the steering wheel and the back touching the seat. Just note it. And they were silent and they were actually experiencing that certain. So this simple thing, what you're doing immediately to, if you're washing the tap, the water, you must feel the water properly. Having a bath, just feel it how it touches you. I mean, this is very super. If you do that, this in the cave or in these monks, that's what they do. They have simple life and their basic things, they are mindful. And they are that, then it is normally very well known, the frontal lobe of the brain, this is been very well sharpened. Special, this thing, so, and stress will not be there, because so this gentleman, I remember he was quiet while driving, so I knew he was touching that peaceful particular experience. Just simple, noting that. So, but this is starting. But this is basic things. When you do that only, you get the other things properly. So this is one. I told for stress busting, there is only one. It's very well known now, even in modern, even corporate, this thing they are teaching in seminars and all that for the manager, directors, all that staff, because for them to make them perform better, in the rat race. So then you have sense control. There are other four. In the text, in the original teachings, the master, he teaches actually four. This is all to develop samadhi, concentration. For what purpose? To see the Dhamma, to realize the Dhamma, to get the wisdom from an inner level, or from that special eye of your mind, brain, the wisdom eye. To get that, so he makes sure you need this. He calls this like also incubation of the egg. When the egg is properly incubated, given heat properly by the mother, you find it will hatch properly. I mean, then the small chicks, if they tap, it will crack. That cracking is called insight. So this cracking is not happening. We are hearing a lot about this is the conditionality we hear here. Why is not making an impact? Because our mind is not properly, the warmth have to be given. That is the Charya Dharma. Charya Dharma means your spiritual lifestyle. If its lifestyle is spiritual, you don't feel tired when you are doing the work. You don't feel time passing. You don't feel bored. All this is happening is not spiritual. That means it's greed activating, irritating work. Now you separate, you remove the irritating greed. I mean, these things when they go, you are doing the work but mechanically. But how that happens, you have opened the cool part of your brain. You might think you had a lot of work, that's why you can't do. No. It's because you have not still opened that part of the brain, the cool one. When it is open, we have so much, that is all just sleeping. Just a small area is now functioning. So when that is open, you may have the same work or even more. But you will be, the calmness, peacefulness will be pervading. And like you're in a good mood all the time. Sometimes now people are having, now here no problem, there's nice sunshine. But in England and London, these people, they will always think, oh, now it's sunny, and it's like, and the next day, so he was also an old friend of mine. It's funny, who was doing the first two programs. So I didn't want to teach him immediately. He was telling Bhante, this is now very sunny today. I was just going because then I was thinking tomorrow, okay, we'll see what will happen. Tomorrow then it was all cloudy. Then I said, I was slowly trying to tell them how you will have the sunshine all the way, all the time. There is cloud, there is this thing. You will be, the sun will be shining in you. So your detachment from that experience, there's a bigger light inside you, bigger. Some even admire this nice scenery, relative to all this concrete jungle, that is nice. But compared to that inner tranquility, one will experience this is very cross. Such a person will not even admire this, even the beauty of nature. Nature becomes still grosser. So there are levels of course, a person who is in the cities and a lot of community like that is okay, good. Now today I had to just look up like that. It's a nice mountain, no? Milpitas. There are, you can...
I don't know what kind of mountain.
Yeah, it's nice. I felt something refreshed, just to see a bit of... But still I got used to also, there's that inner thing where that's far away. So this is still very somewhere in the world. So anyway, this is some of the practices I want to tell. So while you're driving, and there are some people, I told one in Milan, one lady, when she practiced, like if you have to catch a train, you have to check the compartment, that is okay. You look with compartment 8 or 7 or whatever, you have to look at that, alright. After that, from when she knew that is the place she has to, then from here to there, walking, that part, she used to feel the soul touching the ground. The simple noting, that's mindfulness, paying attention to the moment. And also you can check your mind, whether you're going with a stress, or just then command yourself, no, let me pay attention to this. I will get into the train, but now let me check whether I am letting go and sort of releasing, let me walk after that. So this becomes habit, you reprogram your brain how you do things. You'll be doing the work, but now you'll be doing it with more enlightenment. That is one. Then sense control I was explaining, that you were not there. Did you hear about how, now I just told, right? You focus, I am seeing you like this, now I don't see. Okay? So this is like when you're crossing a road or something, you see vehicles coming, but you don't see who is inside the vehicle. Alright? You understand?
So do you mean that when you see something and then, let's say at that moment you see an object, but then there's a noise.
Not the subject.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't see details.
Yeah, but then let's say when you see an object and there's a noise coming and the seeing of that object disappear and the hearing of that noise appears. Is that what you mean?
Yes, like you don't make a picture out of it. To make a picture you need details. Right? Now sometimes you see somebody but you don't know who that body is. Okay? You hear a sound but you don't recognize any message from the sound. The sound comes and so that you don't take the recognition, that details, so that is a practice which reduces the monkey mind. Others we register like that and it's creating the monkey mind. So we do unconscious, just a little bit you saw here. So some say they see something and then they think of the impermanence and contemplate that. No. This is also okay. But I am telling something of another practice where you cut that experience whatsoever. This is to perfect a sila I am talking about. So this is something I call that, now you look at it means you have caught. You already say this is a nice flower, for example, I'm telling you. A flower you see, nice. You notice it's nice. So before you notice it nice, you don't see it. So there you don't take the details. You might say it's red, you slightly see, but slightly. The slightness you increase, then when you're doing that, that's a particular virtue. It's normally said crores of virtue is practiced. Monks are supposed to be practicing this. Sense control. So, this now, there's another problem in the modern day. Now, this is supposed to be the practice for meditation. But today, we drain a lot of energy. Now, I'll come. In this regard to sense control, today in the modern day, there are where we have, from the Buddha's time to now, where even we have formed into where addiction is formed. So I will explain like this. Sometimes in our life, suddenly we put ourselves into mud. And sometimes we come and practice like this. This is like cleaning, washing. So sometimes we are put into mud, then clean. Put into mud, then clean. So when I say put into mud, It means like suddenly you feel like going to, say, a nightclub. For example, I'm not talking just small things, I'm talking of big, like suddenly you feel like going to the bar, suddenly a nightclub, suddenly any other thing that's even hidden, you want to do something. Maybe it's in the toilet, and also today it's in the computer also. Because there is that, we find that all these addictive things, it is the dopamine rush in the brain, the feel-good hormones that which we are running behind. Suddenly the novelty, that kind of thing, that utopia, no? Is it correct? I don't know. Utopia? Do you feel suddenly elated? I must check the dictionary. A long time to use that word. Sorry?
Is it what we call desire?
Yeah, but these strong desires I'm talking about. Little strong. Yeah, desires could be the one, but desires where we have to do it, we don't like anyone know very much also, because this is too much negative and damaging. So, therefore damaging. So, normally it is very well known, if you put the MRI scan at that time, the dopamine is very, normally those days we know about drinking, alcohol and things like that, and even drugs. But today there are different forms I'll be explaining where this is happening in the modern day, especially with the computer also. So, because that is very much connected to the sensual world, and anyway this dopamine rush, so whatever we are doing hidden, we must know, now this is happening, just I'm telling because there are people who are, this is happening to good people, people who are destined to do great things, and this, so to break this you have to understand what is happening to you to remove that. So when you know that anything you are doing hidden, there is that means that when you are doing hidden, that emotion, the feelings you are experiencing, is a high pitch of greed or anger or delusion. So these are when you are having that much strong emotions, corresponding to that emotion, there are certain dimensions you open up, you connect. You understand what I'm saying? You are dreaming anyway. Okay.
I think it's very clear.
It's clear, huh? Did you all understand, or are you thinking of something else? Okay. Alright. I hope this is important point I'm coming now. I'm coming to my main menu, okay? This is important because I think no one will touch these points today. You will hear the Paticca explanation immediately. So this will be the first time you get this kind of explanation. I also never expect to explain like this, and it came out, and I hope it might help you. Okay? So when you're putting yourself into mud like that, those emotions, that is a certain frequency, okay, of greed, lust, or anger, negative emotions. So corresponding to that emotion, there are certain dimensions which open up, lower dimensions. There are beings in those dimensions, they enter the system, body. Okay? When they enter the body, they give you the driving force for you to do those sort of sinister, hidden things. So when that is there, two things help you to do that kind of hidden, sinful thing. That is, these forces have entered the body, and the other one is wrong view. Now when I say wrong view, it is actually like you justify it, You justify it, like otherwise you can't enjoy the sin. You either think maybe it's good for my cholesterol, okay, that goes down, or digestion is better when I take a little bit of whiskey. That's how my father took, I remember. And but suddenly, very interesting how it happened. He was taking almost every day little whiskey, but that's more damaging than taking at once. So just before dinner, before lunch, like that, he used to have a little bit. So one day suddenly, age of 50, I think, 49, like that. So sometimes these astrologers and these are also helpful. So my uncle, he was failing in his politics, all that, so he was going to all the astrologers. He's not a person who believes in any religion, but suddenly he becomes so religious when everything has gone down. He found some palmist, I think. That time we have come to Sri Lanka, and that's the time where I was changed, completely from age 18. This period we came visit Sri Lanka. So there they took they told me this wonderful palmist, in Bhattaramula or somewhere, where he takes the thumb, he checks this thing, and he's very convincing. He would explain, he would tell some good details, it was quite okay. So everybody went just for entertainment, like my uncle, arranged an event. And my father was so convinced by this person, he said, if you don't stop drinking and this thing, within another 7 years or a few years, you will go blind. And that really triggered. He actually I'll never forget, he came back and he said, this is my last drink, let me enjoy this and I'm going to stop this. And he did stop. So that's like something, you have to really get something convincing. You understand? So now I'm explaining this, you will get to know something, and I wish someone explained to me these things, because these things also, it was there in my own experience. And very much late only I got to know this was happening, this kind of thing. And that gave me more strength to really anything, because otherwise you are doing good spiritual activity, but suddenly you are draining all that energy from some other thing. So what happened now, when you know that these are certain forces have entered, and
how do you, is there any indication?
Of course, the action you are doing. You understand? Now I'm trying to show you the action you are doing, and I will tell you also some supportive things also. But you can know yourself. When you are anywhere distracted or going into something, you find they have come already. Now when I tell like this, you will notice now. Up till now you were not able to this thing, but you will begin to, I will tell you some points exactly where you will be noticing over there, that is a working way now. And then you will not want to, you will have used your own this thing to take another decision. Before you don't know, because you think it's just, that's me, that's happening. Now you will know if somebody else is doing that for you. Okay? So when you are doing something like that, then when you know like that, when the next day the temptation comes, okay, when that situation comes, when you are very convinced, you try to avoid it. So what happens, say if maybe somebody coming and calling you, or some other kind of connection that sort of makes you suddenly trigger this, that place, when that occasion comes, you will be avoiding. One day when you avoid, 2 days when you avoid, the food, the nourishment to those forces, those energies, they will get. So 3rd, 4th day, the holes in your character, you will be patching up. That means, in other words, the damaged part of your brain, it gets time to repair slowly. So when they get repaired, few days, when you do, you will find, now like adrenaline and other negative hormones are created when you have fear and all these negative emotions. When you'll be getting a certain level of, because you're not losing energy now, you'll be getting a certain restoration of certain energy with you. That will give you a certain tranquility without meditation. Like your mind is healing. When that is happening to a certain extent, something also has to be created in the body, opposite to the other negative one. So normally we don't have in medical terms the exact word for this. There is something, this is called ojas. I don't know whether you have ever heard, this is an Ayurvedic term, ojas, tejas. Now this ojas, this is a very fine substance. It happens to travel through, say, small nerves, through your, say, spinal area, to the main area of the brain, where the brain was not functioning, or this thing, they start to open up. And they get deposited there. Those ojas which is deposited in the brain, they start to activate this particular way of thinking and conduct. It's like a cycle, you create an opposite cycle. So this creates those thinking, that creates those type of hormones, and then like that it increases, and the poisonous cycle is slowly replaced. Now when that happens very much, you can see physically there will be a difference in you. There will be like a charm. You will be more magnetic. Now the other way, when you do the negative things, you are like a clown. You see, your personality is destroyed day by day. And you may have a shower and all that and come, but you can't cover that. Because that is not the shower you must take. The shower should be through faith, restraint, doing these things. These are your shower. So, if this particular other way you must reflect, your personality will be destroyed and you can't hide it, you might, so you might dress nicely and all that and go, but so the other way, when you create this, there will be a change, you will become more beautiful, more handsome. Otherwise, your age will also look less. And I can tell you a clear one, when it happens very much, there will be a shine in your cheeks and forehead. And I tell you, normally don't lose that shine. That shine, don't lose it. So I tell you don't have to apply what is this Nivea, you will have a natural beauty of that. So this is one you have to really see how really it happens. Then it will give you some encouragement and this thing to keep away. This is one part I am explaining. There's another one. This is I don't really heard about rishis, like certain people who are developed in Himalayas. They are who have the samadhi. So one of them, I remember, he had this power, the ability, like there are behind you certain unseen forces that come. Now, normally you don't, maybe later you might get to know, like you don't notice them. You can't see, you're only seeing these people normally. So, but there are certain things that do come behind you. So I remember this rishi was able to bringing that unseen force into the body of the person who is following. So one day, a lot of people come to get advice and solutions for problems from him. And that day I was also there. I remember once one mother came with her son who was not studying, was in computers and going for parties and all that. And then this child was there and the mother was complaining, can you do something, give some blessings to him. Then suddenly when I was there, I could see that this boy suddenly became unconscious. Some other person was talking. And then he was doing like this. And then I actually, then suddenly he asked, who are you? He said, but it was snake spirit or something. Snake spirit, something like that. They said, when did you come to the body? This body when he was 13 years old. How did you come? When he was playing games. Well, that time I was wondering what's the game, computer games. How the computer game is related to this kind of, this I was also really curious. Then I got to know actually now when you have positive thought, a good thought of metta, karuna, you activate higher consciousness. Higher thought is creating a higher consciousness. But when you say kill, fight and all this negative, or even something which is worldly exciting, now even comedy, all that, I thought in the beginning it looked so innocent fun, innocent fun, that's what I thought. But one comedian came to the Buddha and asked, what is their destiny, who are entertainers like that, where will they be reborn when they die? Buddha didn't answer. Second time he asked, he didn't answer. Third time he asked, then he answered. When he answered, he said, because you're asking, I will tell you. They go to the laughing. Now, she said that we have a belief in India that time. Comedians, they go to laughing heaven. So we are doing this profession. Then the Buddha says that time, no, they go to one place called laughing hell. When I was also confused, because now in our normal society we think this is innocent, right? But I understand he sees in terms of raga, dosa, moha, greed, hate, delusion. So the delusion, diluted entertainment. Because these things, definitely, so there's another way to look at it. It is the dopamine that is released. Wherever there is dopamine release, you can know that is in the negative side. Because that increases greed and desires. So what happened? Now, in regarding to this computer games, I got to know very well that Oxford University, the research is made that in a computer games there's addiction. And the addiction is equal to the heroin addict. Heroin addict, the dopamine that is released is the same amount from the brain. Just imagine. So now you can very well, it's very beautiful when there is that medical, the instruments that shows like that. And also now I can see the why the spirit center. So another place where the one of the spirits that entered, they said he came to this body through Facebook. So I don't know what is exactly the Facebook, how it operates and all that. Only the name I know. Of course, I now for these programs I've been operating on the YouTube. Okay, now I'm also guilty with that. This thing, so I'm waiting. I don't know while there's some things I can get while I'm to do your program. But otherwise, there's so much. Unless you're cautious, you can't tell the people now not to use computers. Okay, but you have to be enlightened about what is really going on. So I have found that you can't change now. You see, you can use it, but there are good things you can get from it. Information. The computer is a neutral thing, but the problem is it's not used by enlightened people. So unless you know to separate from that, so you learn to avoid. So the sense control, you learn this is poison. And then another place they say when you think of pressing that button, they are in our control. Now I'm talking about sometimes negative, certain maybe page, he said, page or website, maybe something. So these are people who are having, so I got to know some, even with the cell phone they have the internet, no? So they are there, now they are putting apps and all that, apps, right? Controlling it, okay? Am I right? This application that means, right? Apps, okay. And in London I get to know there, so I'm happy. This is slowly, because we have to formulate this to what we are doing today. No point now we are going for lectures, this, that, and then we are draining the main area in practice. So we are just going, no change is happening us. We don't know exactly which level in this well we are in now today. We are thinking we are trying to do give the same medicine as it was given those days. So that time the level of people's purity was different when they were meeting the Buddha directly. But now when we come, our desires have grown so much, and our perversions also. So I think I covered that part.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
So just like there are negative forces when you are at certain dimensions.
Yes, levels of emotions.
Yeah, aren't they the opposite to that
Definitely.
also?
Yeah, definitely.
And aren't they helping to...
It's like a war between, tug of war between these two.
I'm asking.
Correct, yes. So I'm not worried about that part. That is you already having. I'm talking about the part which you might not recognize. Yeah, there is definitely. Otherwise you won't come like this. Now, even now, if you didn't have that part, something would stop you. He'll tell you to, no, today let's go for, I don't know what, this part of the world, I don't know what you have. Some kind of, entertainment or something you feel like going, because they will not allow you to come. So you have some part which brings you there, that is there. Now even yesterday we were talking about somebody else later in the night, now even in mass way, for example, even like Hitler and all these people, there are huge forces, negative forces behind taking that person as an instrument. Same way positive, like Mahatma Gandhi or big revolutions towards the Dhamma, using the Dhamma principles of compassion, honesty, and those are activating those, that is also huge cosmic devatas, those forces are behind. You understand? So they make without such forces, like in a big way, it doesn't happen. You can know when it's happening, there are those angels and so on. Like an entire... So in our life, general life also you can see. Other way, there's another force. So we increase this force, so that this completely, you are going to replace it. So those things I explained.
The fourth one, you already told 3 things, right?
Yes. 3 means the third one is actually Bhojanamatan is food. Control of the food. So I'm touching in general, food. More than food, I have to touch like with the food there is the sexual urge. This is the main, that's where I'm touching also internet. There are so many other things that are happening through that. So there I have already explained those forces are working, and there are those certain forces eating the muck that is created. That also I must tell. Like even the the poisonous hormones that are created in the body with excessive greed, emotion, those, there are certain spirits that eat that and remain in the body. So you can feel the tingling feelings. Now when I tell, suddenly you know that they are working. And so when you keep away, you could feel they get a little upset and they will try to drive you. So when you now know like this, you notice suddenly that because otherwise we think it's just some physical feeling. And so these things, so one should know that one keep away. Now these are not easy. One has to keep away, target certain days. It's like coming out of an addiction. So one has to do like 1 day, 2 days, I keep away, 3 days, 1 week. And you see the positive side of it. So another thing I must explain, I tell 2 things if you don't control, nothing happens on this path. One is the tongue and the other is the sexual organ. You can see they look very similar with red, nerves and so on. So that is directly connected with the reptilian brain. Now we have the special part we think, analyze and kind of, the meditation and all this. That is the frontal lobe, they say, frontal cortex or something. So there, this part, you find that other way, the reptilian brain, whenever it's working, so especially with food, even food, if you think about it, this is activated. Leave alone eating, thinking. So I'm giving you the example, even other things, even if you think about it also, these things start to activate. So now, for me it was very interesting. The Buddha has laid down rules for monks, even for celibacy, he has laid down certain rules. These rules were laid down after 20 years. The first 20 years, no monk was breaking. They were becoming enlightened very quickly. So after 20 years, it was get to know this monk, he has done like that. Then he said, don't do this. This is the first rule. Like that, he laid down one rule after the other. Now many think that the Buddha would have laid down these rules. Now someone asks, Bhante, how to follow the 5 precepts? How do you practice the 5 precepts? How do you follow the 5 precepts? In France, they asked me. I said, my friend, you don't follow 5 precepts. 5 precepts follow you. We don't know. We think we have to protect 5 precepts. Actually, 5 precepts protect us. When we know this is a purpose for it, for our own sake, this is done. This is not something as a burden we have to do. Like, life jacket, when you get into water, life jacket is not something that you just hold and touch and wait. It saves you. You must see that practical aspect of these rules are there for your protection. So I will tell you this regarding one of the rules of this, actually 4, he has laid down for us. If you break that, we have to remove our robes. There are another 13 which we can recover. We can, so most of them are connected with celibate rules. But interesting, those days in Buddha's time, this was broken by few people, not many. Now today it's difficult to find in the community people who are not breaking this. We have come to that level. So these rules were laid down for future, for today, for us. So these rules, first one and second one, they are called grave offense. Why he say grave? Because it has a certain... this gentleman is not here. He went?
He actually went to bring his daughter.
Oh, he will be recorded, no?
Yes.
He might... okay. So otherwise I think he's also very interested to go.
Yes, he's a Trinitarian too.
Sorry, yeah. Okay, I just suddenly the thought came, what happened to him? Anyway. But then he'll not get a live only from our recordings, right?
Yes.
YouTube also we have. So anyway, but I can see most of you are different, You are like really following this way, want to follow this way somehow. So the Buddha's time also, he was meeting some of them. They were going on Yasakula Putra and all these particular... Ipamata, come on. Yeah, you can go and drink a little water and come.
No.
On my behalf. Really. You drink a little bit and you'll find I'll be quenched. It's okay. So what happened there, Buddha's time, there are like some who were going to a park with one, I remember they were going with a prostitute, this princess, all this
Prince.
Prince, and then they all the retinue, and they were enjoying themselves. So what happened? They were looking for this woman has stolen something, and then they were looking for her. Then they came across the Buddha. But they look all like that, but they are all ascetics in the past lives. They from externally they look like they were involved worldly that time, but then they saw the truth. Then Buddha asked, is it good? What is worthwhile, searching for her or searching about who you are? Where you is. Then they really clicked. They said, yes, it's better to search who we are than to search someone. Just to really settle how much they were right. How much today if someone tell it doesn't make much sense because they think it's so philosophical and all that. But they were already philosophical. So like that I think you all also maybe. I think after a long time I'm telling nice things about you. Anyway. So I was telling this point, what was it? Last?
Yeah, about the food.
Food.
About the food?
Yeah, like how you are enjoying your food.
Okay. So the tongue and so I told about the rules, okay? The rules, but when I'm talking like this, I like someone new to know exactly more than this talking part, exactly what I was doing and what made me come like this. You have no idea, no? But I was in the Himalayas and, no?
I got a general information that you practice in the Himalaya.
And then I faced near-death experience, that's the main one. That I came to near death.
Yeah, I haven't heard that because I think
that's what you should hear.
Yeah.
nothing else you should know. Then you should know that I came close 2 times with altitude sickness, and so one way you must see you are meeting a ghost. Okay, the second one it was really not sure I will really make it. And then so I feel every moment like this is like a bonus. So before the moment of death, like that experience, I try to meditate. There the thought came I could share enough with the people. So that is because I have been always avoiding the crowds. 2012 I came to the public, but I went back again. Like that I was keeping practicing. And because I was always thinking, maybe I'm not enough, I should be perfect to do this. So then with this experience I knew that I should have shared something. That while you're working for your PhD, like you can share something from your masters. So that came to me only after that experience. So that's why you're seeing me here. Okay. Otherwise I would not come. I had no interest whatsoever. Because otherwise I will be put into the same category like some monk want to see America. Impossible. Last place I would come in this thing. And I'm sometimes thinking, because I told like why we are fascinated. Now when I was passing Manhattan, another nice thing happened in France. We were passing Eiffel Tower. Remind me about these rules I'm going to tell, right? About rules. You just tell rules, I will remember. I think I'll remember now. So we were passing Eiffel Tower and then suddenly my organizer there, he's a very nice gentleman also. He suddenly said, Bante, that is what is this? Eiffel Tower, Bante, that is the Eiffel Tower. Of course from young age we have heard about Eiffel Tower. Then I told him, my friend, I have not come here to see the Eiffel Tower. I have come here to show you for you not to see Eiffel Tower. It's true. This is my whole practice. Even in Melbourne, they had arrangement, like few days, like when I did programs, to show me what is Melbourne city. I saw it when I was going. But later they got to know what kind of city I like to see. They took me to forest actually. There are old forests there. That was very nice. And I also like sometimes watching, that old kind of things like that. It inspires me. So we went to some few places like that. So we were passing Melbourne like that. The last place I'll be looking at, but somewhere where I should be not looking. So this is in France, in Paris. No, in Manhattan. We were passing there. Then I was also happy in a way. I can't say I am not Arahant, I know for sure. But I was not feeling it was not making any. I was having nice peace, nicely enjoying my and going. Nothing was making impact. So later when we were in the night, when I told suddenly to my organizers, I just suddenly got an insight. Why we are fascinated by these external things? Because there's inner poverty. You understand? There's a clear sign that inside nothing, that you have no wisdom, no nothing. You're like, like so poor, you feel so like a Godiyata magician. It is for you so fascinating. Oh my God, how nice this skyscraper, Because you're so poor inside, you have no knowledge of life, nothing. You have so much desire, greed, so much, you are not quenched. So that simple thing becomes such a, that's a clear sign. So it's a nice way of putting, because you're inside poor, your interior is so, nothing is there inside. So you're extremely fascinated. And who is internally this rich, can't fascinate. Now I give you a clear sign, right? I think you were passing through McDonald's, I don't know, right? Anyway. හරිද මාත් මන් දන්නේ මම කියන්නේ සත්‍යයක් තියෙනවද මන් දන්නේ
මම සත්‍යයක් තියෙනවා ලොකුම සත්‍යයක් තියෙනවා
So anyway, so this is one part. I was happy with that actually. Los Angeles, I don't know, it's not a very big this thing. Of course Hollywood, the one who was driving me and taking me, he was fully into that. He told me some interesting things. Even boats are taken to loan negative. With loans, So I just think you are riding the boat, thinking of how to pay the loan. Just imagine, it is so, but it's a sad situation also. All are working hard, like to sort of meet. I have something to create, to demonstrate also. I did that regarding this matter, I just had to formulate while I was going. Maybe in the end of the program, I will might try to do. So I just want to touch this, some important one. So regarding this rules, the grave offense rule, this is regarding the certain strong emotions or strongest pleasure we get from actually sexual activity. Now, even the experience is the highest of that, I can't tell exactly, the word is not nice. So when the experience of the enjoyment is in the highest experience, the rule is broken. If as a monk, if you happen to do like that, so then that's a grave offense and so on. Now interesting, when that level of emotion is happening, the MRI scan shows the reptilian brain takes over the entire brain. So, and the thinking and the meditation, analyzing part gets shut down. That's what's so interesting. Just imagine, like the Buddha had, how he would have seen so clearly the brain is functioning. So now today, this kind of activity, this thing is just, how much we are creating an entire opposite system for enlightenment. We may have general memory, something, but also our memory is fading. And you can expect, for me, I have excuses. I don't know, even to be coherent like this, my brain went through a lot of, actually kind of stress, I would say, in the high altitude. And almost going to coma and then came back. So, this is the excuse I am also nicely putting, I also have to anyway go through a kind of a life. From the beginning I had distractions which I had to work up my way through. Even in Southern Africa, when I was in the schools, they are all very bad, Bad means, all is like the Western, like we had disco every Friday. And I was the first one who liked to go there when I was 14, 15. But I was so shy to ask my father the money, because knowing what was going on there. My friends, they come and they talk, we did this, we did that. So now I was also very keen to go, but to ask my father money to get the ticket, because I was thinking my father will wonder, what is he up to? Just that protected me. 14, 15, 16, this period, 16, 17. And then after that, of course, I never thought I was going to be a monk. So I never forget one girl I was very interested in one fellow. I used to look from far away. And another thing I noticed was, because I was doing this, there was like a sort of kind of a power. Unconsciously I was observing a sealer. Because other students, I did the sports and all that, but other things, I was always, because of the shyness, I kept away. And I could see that there was like a kind of a protective layer that was created automatically. And then I remember one particular person, that's our big school, so one girl asking from, like indirectly, doesn't Shanaka like to enjoy life? They thought that I was keeping away an enjoyment. I don't know, I never thought I would be a monk or I would follow this path. It just came to my mouth. I told, until I know the word, I will not play with it. And what I meant was, like, I had an idea that there's some perfection to this. One day I'll get to know about it. So until, maybe, in other words, that like Arahant, you one day become an Arahant. Then you can go for anywhere. You can do anything after becoming one, not before. Before you do and you think, oh my God, you have created this situation that you can't attain it now. What's the point? So like this, it was there in the mind. So this, I was telling that the reptilian brain entirely taking over. Now, interestingly, there are groups in the modern day knowing the danger of this particular bad habits we create. Now, any kind of pervert, any kind of restraint sometimes without the knowledge, without the removing the ignorance about it, it creates perversions. Any kind of suppression also. So I normally say marriage is like becoming a monk. You stick to one person, how boring that person is, and it gives you a protection. And the other thing is, and finally, you should be meditating and removing all these negative habits slowly with the spiritual practices, where you are raising the consciousness. Now the purpose is not to just control all these things, you are trying to experience tranquil states or more enlightened awarenesses. That's the purpose you are trying to remove this animalistic or lower inclinations. You keep away. Then because even Mahatma Gandhi, yesterday I think I told, he was asked like even for, what was that, family planning, that he was against, he told, what was it, he said, sense control, sense restraint is the technique, not this kind of tricky thing. And he was questioned whether, the world will get extinct if all do like that. That is not practical, it will not happen. So that is a very narrow idea of the population, because you are taking it like the world was flat in the past. They had this idea. We know there are so many beings in the other dimensions, they come and go. There are rebirth happening from different, there's no endless. So you can never empty the world from people. You can only leave it, but you can't empty it. So what he told is nice thing, when you do the sense control, what happens? It's very nice. You're raising the consciousness. You're raised to a higher plane. That's what he says. They don't disappear, you're raised to a higher plane. So that's the whole purpose, where you're raising your consciousness to a higher, the plane. While you're living, you can experience it. When you're feeling tranquil and this thing, you're already there. It is a kind of if you die like that, you'll be born there. And you're in a permanent mood. You're not one time happy, one time bad. You're not a moody person. You're only one mood. A mood. Other times one is sleepy, one is happy, one is this thing. And the other thing, when you are purified like that more, you'll find your relationships will become more enhanced. Your work will become more enhanced, because people think sometimes maybe you practice this much, you'll become a monk. No. When you practice, you'll become whatever. You'll become less selfish. You'll become less egoistic. You'll become more. If you're a husband, if you're a wife, you'll become a super husband, a super wife. If you're a father, you become a super father. Because why? That attachment and that selfishness will be taken away from you with more self-realization. So you become more like water, when water you can put into any vessel, it takes that shape. So this is important. So I think today afternoon program. So I think I covered, I'm sorry. So then there's a group I told you, they're made in this particular part of the world, and America also, and even in Europe, and I don't know, not in Asia, I have not heard. This group, they are keeping away knowing this is dangerous or damaging. I was talking about the entire brain being open, these negative things. Now I was telling even marriage is like, one day, the purpose of it is this kind of connection you should have, this is my idea actually, is to create a child. Anything other than that is a misuse of this. And that creates so much, this is too much I know in a way when it's told, but as far as I understand the way things, that's taking you to lower kind of animalistic, brute kind of brain and mind and life. So the body is human, but then you're losing so much possibility, because there's so much energy, that creation, you can create a child with that kind of feelings and thing that is created from the body. Just imagine how powerful it is. So that very thing, so that's one way. No, you have to have so many ways, your entire lifestyle. And then I have found that these people, knowing that they are damage or danger, they are targeting, 1 week practicing this particular restraint, 2 weeks, then 90 days. So this group is very interesting. YouTube will find. It's called NoFap. N-O-F-A, single P, I think single P. So this is very good for people from the age of, I think, 14, even some who are 30, 40, 50, because no one has told these bad habits or damaging habits could be going on. So this is something I hope you don't miss on this. You must refer in the YouTube. It will be helpful for you all. No one will tell you, remember this. This will be the last you will ever hear something of this matter from any human being in this, because these are things definitely which is happening today, and it will be blocking, it will going to make you miss the bus. So this will help you all. So then the purpose of how to use the cell phones, internet, all will be then becoming meaningful how to do it. So that's why these people, they have put apps, I heard. I think to monitor how many hours you have used, what can you do with that? You can do like that, no?
There are so many different kind of apps.
Okay. So I heard, I think they have added in New Jersey, they said they did, that they have put something where they can monitor and just only the calls and something like that. Otherwise, no point, why did I allow even my discourses? I didn't want them to go to YouTube and internet at all. This is like entering into discoursing in the demon's factory, But then I got to know, it was like some of the rishis, the master, they told, no, you must allow it, because the people are now one with the computer. If you want to give this message in this period immediately, you will have to use it. But use it means not me, the organizers, they might have to put it. Because I have the old message of that peace and this thing, and so that was not got by having computers beside me, never. Not even computers, we didn't even look at a scenery. That's how this internal thing was created slowly. Even that was a distraction. So I'm going to the last parts. Any question you'd like to ask? Now the sleepy period went, is it?
So if you have any questions,
Like 1, 2. Yes?
she was having some questions, so I said to
Yes, you can
go ahead
ask.
and ask.
Where are you from? Malaysia or
Vietnam.
Vietnam? Oh, okay, Vietnam. I had many Vietnamese. I had a lot of problems with them also, because they were so attached to me. In Buddha Gaya, they are very special people, very special people, and they are the first people who kind of recognized when I was there in Buddha Gaya, like something, they felt the divine, and I never forget, I told you 2015 I had this, I really blocked, my body was really in big problem. Very weak, the nerves all got damaged. Actually, something happened with the altitude that it takes a long time to recover. So I came to Buddha Gaya to rest and recover. I was there observing the Vasa. Then many people were giving me all, we in Sri Lanka, we have, call it Thalavatamrat, Sesame, With sesame, with all this jaggery and all that, it's supposed to give strength. So I used to eat that, so many other things offered like that. So the monks also, in their Dana, they used to keep the thala for me. They are so sweet. Knowing that, but there's not much facilities there, Sometimes they get some calcium for the bones too. So little milk, small bottles, and India, all the products are really very, quality. It is like that, okay? If you have no external, I told you, so you can't be both ways. If you are externally no quality, there's internal quality. There's external quality, no internal quality. So it's like going this way, that way. You can have both also, it's a possibility, you see. So what happened there, I was there, and I don't know, 2 Vietnamese nuns, they brought a special, some powder, a kind of a milk powder, which is given to babies actually, but with all the nutrients to grow. Can't remember, that's a nice name. So that they just came and offered, but that really made me recover. I noticed that's only the physical part. But I must tell you what happened also there. I recovered from this physically, okay, little bit I started recovering in Kathmandu. I didn't make you another. Then another thing happened that time, which was a very important one. It was like an attack from, the demon. I have also heard in books and we have known this, but this is the first time I went through this. We have heard how the Buddha was this thing by the Mara and all that. I really experienced this. Now, this is, I would say like this, I can't tell you the exact one because maybe one day in the future I will tell, but I have told the very senior monks what has happened, but we must not keep hidden anything. It was like a time where my robes were almost going to be removed. This situation came, and where I thought I was very strong and something like really attacked, can't go in detail more. So in that situation, like what I cherished, what I liked so much, it was like suddenly taken away from me. Like this is my life. Now there, I had no way to survive mentally. So what I did at that time, immediately it came to my mind, don't personalize this. It's just a happening, a phenomenon. But that word was not strong enough for me to convey. So I used a wrong English word. I told to myself, don't egolize this. Don't egolize this problem. It's just a happening. So there I found when I was going further, the gems are waiting. So most of these obstacles we get, they are like when you are coming closer to something. So where we really go down is through our ego. It's not the problem. Because we attach to something and feel it's so personal, it's me. And there it strikes you, the damage happens. And damage means you get into depression. And then you're so close to the goal, and just not being concerned and worried, you'll be reaching there. To do that, you have to be mindful that this is just not the person take it. Just forget it and go. So this is an experience that day. So many sometimes repeat, like when there are problems, we must not egolize it. Okay. Another word came to me in one of the programs. Selfie. How you create the self. That is another important. Where you are even trauma in the past. The main medicine to remove that will be wisdom. To know who you are. Now one person told me, Bhante, it's nice to know about your past lives. Like, 2-3 births. More than that is important, nicer to know who you are. Have to have self-realization. When you know this, like for example, this body, that this, whatever you remember, it's only a body you remember, right? Then you remember some kind of feeling you went through, perception, and how you reacted. These are what you remember. If you take those things away, it's emptiness. But when emptiness, do you get a sense of I? Do you get the sense of I to something empty? Do you? No. So the sense of I comes associating some substance, mainly feeling. For example, now you are seated, okay? Your legs suddenly get numb. And you don't see from your eyes your legs. you think sometimes whether my leg is there or not, right? So you can see that it is, and when the blood starts to come and then you start to feel, you suddenly get the feeling I. So you find this I comes to associating feeling. And then, if you properly look, that feeling will be changing from one to the other. Then the I should be born again, born and die. But a real I can't be born and die, right? A real I should be something which does not change. මේක තේරෙනවද? මේක දැන් මම ඉතින් පොඩ්ඩම කතාවෙන් එන්නේ හොඳ තැන් වලට. මගේ එන්නේ ටිකක් වටරවුමකින් එන්නේ. I'm coming from around this thing, but I want to touch these parts. But I'm creating, these are the main parts, you must learn. These are the meditation objects you must learn to, when you're reading the Deshana, the teachings, you begin to see the selfless nature of what you're going through. So I will be demonstrating in a small way, where you learn, because even in the past, you don't, now even then you learn to live more in the present moment, intensely. And even now you begin to know there's no person now. So now when you know this body is changing from one to the other, and the consciousness, when you're conscious only, you're seeing a body also with eyes. And the same body you find, in 2-3 people look from different sides, it's different to different people. For his father, his son, perception. Or for me, a devotee. Okay? And to another person, it may be for a brother, it's the elder brother. So you can see this. So consciousness, what shows you through the senses, it seems to be not the final reality. Do you get it? So this is one way of reflecting on that. But there are ways the Buddha shows you that they are like, you have to analyze, observe this Sati Sampajanya, where you are you go back to the past, if something you remember. You look at that and see, you have a body, you can see. And then you see someone shouting at you. That was the sound. And you perceive it. And you perceive it as what? John or some name you remember. And he was shouting. And then you feel, like something. But then you find all those, can you have you there without the perception and all that phenomena? You can't have. You must see how it arose, and it's not only a memory. In those days I used to practice a lot, but now it is gone. In the Himalayas, long time it was another type. It was the Samadhi I was practicing. So those days, with the suttas, very interesting, you just only see impermanence of things. And only now what you're experiencing is only that for that moment is real. It's just anything in the past. And as I was in the toilet just a few minutes ago, or before coming here, I remember, suddenly I also went some dreaming mind, and I thought, suddenly look, it looks so real. And you come back here, it's only, it's the moment you're getting the thought. That is like, so really, it is so unreal, it's not something you imagine something. It doesn't exist there. It's like something out of the... So now when you look like this also, it's to something which is similar to that. So really, it's mentally created. Mostly it's from the past reflection. Now I would have seen someone from Malaysia, someone from Vietnam. Actually, you look more like the Malaysian, the accent and the thing, and the way they dress, because I know Vietnamese, they have their special dress, right? And they are going for prayers and all that. It's very nice, really. Their culture, I really like. So, they are they're very rich culture. It's a lot of compassion culture. Of course, I know even Sri Lanka people, when you look at the culture, everything from outside looks nice, but relatively, if you travel all over the world, you notice that general quality, nature, there is that. Now, you find even in Nepal, people smile all the time. That's the smile. Even Sri Lankan people, they would be having that natural smile. Even if they're stealing something, they'll be smiling at you. So that is, but that's a nice culture, whatever it is. It's created by, but only thing when you're closely with the people, you begin to associate, you begin to notice the negative sides more. When you're far away associating a community, you always get a good impression. But when you mingle and all that, then because it is your own impurities manifesting from the environment. That is not within. So when you see it outside, you are upset. Like a feces, when it's so close to you, you don't worry. If a small piece is dropped here, you feel like that. Same way your impurities, when you are having it, when you see in others, you are upset by that. So, there's a saying in Sri Lanka, we have like, at the apple, nugget of apple. From far away, it's apple, it's an expensive fruit in Sri Lanka. So it looks very, very expensive. You bring it, the cheapest fruit is pepper. So when you bring close, it becomes pepper. So something known in its reality, it will look valueless. It's very true. Anything, if you have understood something, you'll have automatic dispassion. So I've given... So anyone got most of the ideas what I said?
The most important thing is to put into practice.
Yes.
We got the idea, and actually I understand from my own experience because I practice meditation very regularly.
Yes.
So when you explain it, I can apply it to my direct experience, and I understand it. But I found that it's hard because we accumulate the kilesas so much. So the only thing now to get a akusala is only when we practice meditation, then we have a purified mind.
Yes.
Then we can understand more about your teaching, the same as the Buddha teaching. So that's the only way. So there's no other way that we can do except just practice.
Yes. And I'm trying to tell you to do the practice while you're doing the work.
Yes.
When you're driving, when you're sweeping. If you're properly done it, you don't feel tired mentally. That's one sign. See, you're swept, you've done your washing or whatever. If you're done with meditation, you not feel tired. So you must make sure, it doesn't matter how long it takes, it's a little late or whether the work, you must make sure your mind is not tired when you're doing it. So you learn to, those days when I used to do some duties in the monastery, when I was not a young upasaka, not a monk, ordained. So normally every monk is doing some work after the meals. So I take the lonely work. What I do is I take the spittoons, go far away, everywhere nicely on my own, I do the work alone. Not to mingle with the monks and the surrounding. So this I was already attached to meditating. So it depends, if you are really focused on that, you will be making all your ways to enjoy that. You must enjoy liberation. So that's another taste. So you avoid the opposite. And the work, important. And the other important thing is, you have a purpose of practicing all this. The purpose is why? To attain the immortal state. We call it Nibbana and so on. So to do that, I always tell we need it's like a journey. For a journey we need a GPS. Right? So what is our GPS for this practice? What's the GPS? Because normally
Dhamma.
The Dhamma.
Dhamma.
Okay, right. And you know what the meaning of GPS?
Yeah.
Yes, what is it?
Global position system.
Yeah, I have another one. Guru Position System. Guru Position System. Okay. First time I got to know your meaning also. I only knew the initial GPS. Global Position?
Positioning system.
Okay, right. So I have my other one, Guru Position System. Okay. Master, you need a master. Now who's the master for this? Because we have so many types of people coming in, like me also, I'm now teaching and all that, but how do we know somebody is a master? I mean, master means like there are so many types of master. You can be a cookery master, you can be a different fields. Even meditation, there are types of meditation. So normally it is said that if you want to see Nibbana, there are 4 causes the Buddha himself says that you must put. Then if you put those causes, it will happen. So one is called Satpurusha Sansevo, meeting a noble friend. So when you meet him, you will hear the Saddhamma Savana, you hear the true Dhamma. Then when you use that Dhamma to practice, to think and all that, that is it's called Yoniso Manasikara actually, to reflect deeply or to hear that. Then that other one is called Dhammapatiye, which you practice according to. So these are 4 factors which make you see this. Now, who is this Satpurusha? Can anyone?
Kalyana Mitras.
Yeah, who is the Kalyana Mitra? Like
Sampradharma.
okay. But sometimes it may be someone who has at least attended. Now, like when you to come to States, America, you would also, staying from Sri Lanka or Vietnam, you would also want a good friend to guide you properly to go there. So you might go to an agency. But which agency will you choose? The one that has one agent who has never gone to America, but he is there. Another one who has gone to America and is there. Which one you might prefer?
Second one.
Yeah. So like this, at least someone who has himself attained Nibbana is the one you can think him as Satpurusha, good friend. Now that how to know? Maybe his cheeks are shining. Who knows, maybe applied Nivea or something. How do you know? We can't even read the mind of another person, right? Leave alone the attainment inside what has happened. These are internal things, not externally showing. There are some things of meditators, of course, Samtindriya, Santamanasa, Buddha says, like if you pervade some, you show some tranquility in his movements, body, there will be something. But that some people might not have it by, there are some who are like behaving like monkeys, like jumping, but they were enlightened. And so this is a tricky thing sometimes. You can't all tell from the... But today I think it's important. If you, at least it should show, because some might say that, no, I just pretend to be angry. No. If anger should come, it has come. You know this thing. Like once in International Buddhist Center where I'm staying sometimes in Colombo, when I go, there was a young monk there. So he used to sometimes ask me some Dhamma. So I was taking breakfast downstairs. I stay there to arrange some things to do my next whatever I'm going. So he came downstairs and once said, Bante, today one lady came to the monastery and she from far away, she was wearing slipper shoes and she has called him like this. So he was wondering, of course that's not the protocol, of how to address a monk. So then he thought, then he has gone near the lady and said, Nona, madam, you must know your manners. Like this he has said, you must know your manners. Something he has said like that. And then she has come to give some money or something. But then he was telling me, Bante, this happened to me like this in the morning. I said, yeah, I can't help it today. All sort of people come. And also maybe she would have been some disturbed mind. Or she would have never come to monasteries, So some misunderstanding for sure. But then I told him, but still, monks should not get angry also. I told him that. Then he said, no, Bante, inside there's no anger, I just on the outside. Then I told Venerable, when you're really not angry inside, it will not show outside also. This is the important sign. What is inside, if it's really, it will not show because the vibrations. So normally even with our family members sometimes, we pretend we are not angry. But inside here, that vibration is good. That aura is created, which communicates. So this is how simple. You got the point, That's the greed also same. It should get cooled from the inside. Then it will create the, we could say, the personality or this aura. Now the other thing is, the way a person gets angry, you can know the person's desires. Normally we think metta bhavana is the solution for anger. No, this is artificial state. To remove anger is to remove your desires. Now look, for example, some people don't get angry at all, with the office, nowhere. But you ask them, do you get angry with the children? They do. Because they attach so much. They don't have much attachment to other places, but where they attach, the button is pressed. Those who are really practicing, like some are really practicing, but you can know that because they expect they to be like this, like that, and they're doing something. And actually my mother was so angry with me. She used to hit me, and my father used to tell, she's going to, because she does it with anger, because she has so much expectation from me, I should be like prim, proper, This is how she wanted. Imagine that I was like, but I was opposite. But she didn't know what I will come out later. But that was deeply in her mind. And it was like when I was very young, I was trying to make a non-stop machine. So this searching for Nibbana was at different levels, and my mother also was having this deep something connection that this son must be like this. So actually when I changed to the spiritual way, and many people were confused. My personality was changed, like getting angry or reacting was all very reduced. So the first pupil was my mother. She recognized so quickly. My father took 10 years. So sometimes some organizers or even trust people, and I tell, sometimes it's difficult for me with the organizing also, because it's difficult to exactly transmit now even the websites and all that they are making, slowly they are getting, but because I want, I have told now I changed the website to another person. Because before it was going like, not exactly me, it was somebody they have associated now in another monasteries, So they are putting according to that. I am completely indifferent, I am another thing. And then I told the other people, the way I am expecting the website should be a mad website. It should not look conforming. I am not that life. I have told a bit of this. I have been in LTT. This was like I was fully out of the box life. With the rain, the sun, and so that energy, only talking, preaching, if they have one picture of that when I was practicing like that would have been nice, So I can only tell and make you all imagine. But these are not, this is all I have done all these years. They can't, I did it for that purpose also, so that, that's how force we run, that people will get that is enough, we listen to Bana and sort of teachings and read books, we must now really practice it. Now suddenly, like sometimes in the programs I get opportunities. Now in Pindapata, they are all trying to avoid only one monastery, because it was in Nebraska, pronounced correctly. Suddenly they raised the Pindapata inside the hall. In the monastery they didn't know, because it was very cold outside. This is what I want to teach. How to go in the cold. How not to feel. So I can't do it if, you just come into this. This is what the people, but doesn't matter. When I'm doing, people also will know how to do it. So just to how not to feel the cold from this thing. Maybe snow I can't do it, but that's why from Himalayas the ice glaciers I wear shoes, trekking shoes. Otherwise you have blisters, it's not possible. But I rather, to use your mind to face the feelings, physical or mental. Use the Dhamma. Now let's see. We have the knife. Let's cut and see. Otherwise, just always having a knife. We have never tried cutting or using it for our daily activity. Maybe someone shouting rough. But we learn to apply that time. Not run away, avoid the person.
Okay. Yes. How do you keep mind from wandering when you are meditating?
Yeah. The solution I already told, like how the sense restraint practice. I was telling, like when you're now going outside and going to other places, what you see you're very choosy. You're going to screen what you're going to see. When you do that practice, that will reduce the monkey mind. You understand? And the other thing is, before you start meditation, better you recite something inspiring, not just chanting or something that will touch your heart and tears will come. Then it will open up, that will stun you. Then no thoughts will also come. That's a preliminary. Bambalapitiye, it's important. The modern day is more. I call it like a nestomalt, or Milo. We need a spiritual Milo to give us this inspiration and energy. The thing is that running, for that purpose only this. Other time now, if you're watching TV and all that, then you meditate, that won't do. So if you're gone to the market somewhere and seeing this and that, then also that monkey mind will be coming to you. So you learn now when you are going there, no, I'm going to avoid this. Not go. That is a sila. That sila is, when you sit down, that sila is so good that you get samadhi. You have one thought, no monkey mind, nothing. You understand?
So you are not registering all the images inside.
That's right. The brain is so subtle. And he's a good pupil, And I know I don't ask him very much because I know he knows exactly what is going on. So they have been doing a long time. Some of you have been really doing these things for many years. That I'm really happy, really, one way. I'm not wasting my time. But this time I should be in the jungle, Really, I should be achieving something next. This is a very good time. I'm physically okay. And we don't know how long this will last. That's why we never waste a single second. Any other question you like to ask?
They came to Santa Clara
on Thursday.
Thursday.
We saw them somewhere. That is
First
Santa Clara, first one.
Okay. Because their faces look better today. What happened to you all? That's Thursday, ne? That's Nivadudavasa හොඳයිද?
හොඳයි සර්.
මොකද තාත්තේ මම හිතන්නේ මේ සෑහෙන ස්ට්‍රෙස් ආරාමයක් එක්ක ඉන්නේ කොහොමද?
එහෙමවත් නෑ ස්වාමීන් වහන්සේ.
හරි.
දැන් වැඩට යන්න තිබ්බනේ ස්වාමීන් වහන්සේ.
අනිත් දවසේ.
කලින් සැරේ යාර 11ට වැඩට යන්න තිබ්බා.
ආයෙත් මම වැඩට යන්න රෑ හිටි
මාත්‍යතේම තිබ්බා. හැබැයි මම සෙනග දැක්ක මම හිතන්නේ මේ දුව තමයි මම හිතන්නේ. ආව මම දැක්කා මෙතන සයිඩ් එකේ ඉඳන් හිටියේ නේද? දෙන්නේ හිටියනේ අනේ. ඔක්කොම හිටියේ නිකන් ගල් ගහේ කො මාව දැකලා දන්නේ නැහැ. මේ අලුත් ආන්දරගෙන මොකද්ද දන්නේ නැහැ කියලා එහෙමද දන්නේ නැහැ. හැබැයි මම I saw two locations like this and in Switzerland. No, not Switzerland. Switzerland good. Generally, it's a nice place to go, I think. You have no much worry, stress. Italy.
ඊට පස්සේ මෙයා ගෙදර එහෙම ගිහිල්ලා ගොඩක් ධර්ම සාකච්ඡා ආහාර ස්වාමීන් වහන්සේගේ දැන් ටිකක් අර ඒකට සමවැදිලා තියෙනවා.
හැබැයි මගේ YouTube is dangerous, ඒවා අබින්න වගේ. ඒක අර ඇඩික්ට් වෙන එකක් තියෙනවා. යාර බ්‍රේන් එක ඇරෙනවා. මොකද අර මම මේ එනකොට කතා කරන සමාධියක් වැඩ කරනවා. The voice from the voice also it goes and it will be working. So I don't know, maybe that drug is good. So some of them all night there that is working, that energy from the sound and the samadhi. There's a goal, there's a main thing I'm stressing, not to go through my YouTube this thing, to read the sutras separately. He's our master, that is our GPS. The direct Buddha's words, I will, at the end of it, I will just tell you how. So I will, yes, in English there are good translations. There's no problem in English. Singlish translation is a big problem, you see. So in the English translation, there's word of the Buddha by Gnanaloka, Mahathir. And this is a small book taken from the suttas under the Four Noble Truths directly. So that is, there are occasions where Satipatthana, contemplation parts are there. Like the dhatus, 5 dhatus, like the hardness here, just the hardness. Where he says like that simply, you're supposed to get that. It's not a big analyzing too much also. So then what he's trying to say is to show that there's no person here. It's a concept. They're not done it. Concept සංකල්පය හැදෙන හැටි මම කියන සංකල්පය මේ ඒක නැති වෙන විදිහට බලන ක්‍රමයක් කියනවා. දැන් එදා පරමාණු electron structure එක ගැන කියන්න ක්‍රමයක් there's no way no how to show through electrons but ඒ විදිහට පෙන්වන ක්‍රමයක් තිබේ සතර ධාතු වලට the four elements. So where the four elements you see the hard nature just the nature is that there's no person whether it's here or here. Now just imagine we have, like for example, we have accidents when you're car drivers, racing drivers. We have many accidents. You find many car racing drivers, they have these beams in their legs. They have put this iron rods, So just imagine, now when it's put there, they get the sense, this is my rod, right? Isn't it? Even a gold teeth sometimes to the time. So just when it comes to this space only, the sense of I comes so much. That sankalpa, that happens, the concept. But you are supposing the meditation to really see it separate. So when I have to sort of exercise this, some people at home when the husband is scolding, the wife, she was able to see this is not my sound and not shout back. So this is important practically when you are faced with situations to see the world through that. And then hold on to that vision. And then you are not reacting. You are not feel the suffering connected with that. So this when you do very much, you are on the path, So that the instruction you should get from the directly. I do want to do that. පොඩි කාලේ කොච්චර ෂුවර්ද නේ? ඒගොල්ලන් නියම හාමුදුරුවෝ. They are the real monks, the small children. Yeah, really. They are naturally they are having less defilements. You look at them. Once a great monk, he was so great. He was asked, who are you? What is this? He said, I am a child who refused to grow. Yeah, it is true. See, this word of the Buddha, this is a handy book all the way if you want to ever. So I call this is your GPS actually. So this is under the Four Noble Truths. I had a master, he was a German monk. I didn't tell anything about him. He's the one who inspired me. I didn't tell him anything about how I came to this. At the age of 18 only, Southern Africa. Then from there, when I went to Sri Lanka, I met this master. He was a wandering monk, a forest monk. And he's the one who showed me where the teachings are, how to apply it, and he also showed me the way not to have monasteries, not to get attached to devotees and keep away, many of the things I'm doing is completely what he taught. So he was a yogi, and when he was a young man, they were interned, during the Second World War time. They were put in Dehradun camp in North India by the British. That time he was really, he had big business before that. During the war it was all reduced to zero. So he used the meditation also. He told me how to develop that, like yoga and all that, to ability to concentrate, to develop take decisions, proper decisions as a director. Freudenberg, that's the spare parts around here. German company. Freudenberg. Is I think one of the branches. In Komari, he was working there. He was a director in that particular. He was staying in Sri Lanka. Second World War, they all were taken, put into the camp. So he lost everything. His business, he was reduced to zero. So he was really disillusioned, So then suddenly that he met these monks, Gnanaloka, group of German monks who made this Polgastu Island Hermitage where I come from in the beginning time. So they were all German monks who were very good scholars and good, some practitioners also. So they gave this book to him. And when he went through this slowly, he knew this is it. So he was already having the samadhi from the yoga in the Hindu way. And then when he read this, so he was a practitioner fully. But still he was very learned also. He learned to practice only, nothing, his whole life. So then I came in contact when he was very old. So he was a big driving force in my life. He was my main mentor and inspiration. I was his attendant for the last period. So when you happen to read these books, for example here, we take this. Now, the Buddha asks, like, what now is the soul? Now, you must keep it beside your bed, okay? Just relax where you are staying. And when you are going, this is your meditation object, remember this. So when he says like that, you try to apply to yourself. What now is the solid element? He's asking the Buddha. Patavidhatu. The solid element may be one's own or it may be external. That means what is in this area is one's own and this hard nature. Okay? And what is one's own solid element? Now all this when you are reading, going through, you must relax. And like relaxingly, you must learn to think. Then only you will understand. It will make meaningfulness. Otherwise, this you can't do with strain and stress. Because this will lead you to see the reality through the illusion of life. And what is one's own solid element? Whatever in one's own person or body, there exists of karmically acquired hardness, firmness, such as the hairs of the head. Now you know how he explains. Karmically acquired. That means these parts are created by past karma. You understand? This nose like this, the ear like this, the body, teeth like this. The organs are a manifestation of past karma. Then, one's own person, body exists that. It was, what firmness, such as the hair of the head. Again, what has hard nature predominantly, he's pinpointing it. The hair, the nails, the teeth. Okay? Because now in the blood you don't have. In the blood you have the liquidness as the main predominant nature. So he goes to all the organs like that. So you must note them, right? Picture them. And you must know how it is placed in this space. Now, whether it be one's own solid element or whether it be the external solid element, they are both merely the solid element. This is the inside part. When it says whether it's here or whether it's outside. Now look. Okay. Mentally you must get, this is just hard here or hard, same. Maybe the bones. If you are looking a lot like that, that brain doesn't work. That's why you have to be free. More you are free from the five senses, you can have that eye working, that wisdom eye. Now whether it be one's own solid element or whether it be one's external solid element, they are merely the solid element. Merely means just a solid element. And one should understand, according to reality and true wisdom, this does not belong to me. This am I not. This is not myself. Me Dhamma, me soham asmi, me sohatta. You must relaxingly notice it yourself. So more you can come to samadhi, tranquility, these are easy things. Otherwise you go to some other quick thing, because your mind cannot get that taste. If you go quick, doesn't mean you're not understanding the Buddha. You will go and understand someone other than the Buddha, So, okay, you can try, I'm telling you, better to try something than nothing. But I think by trying, remember to come to this again. Because And what now is the fluid element? The fluid element may be one's own or it may be external. And what is one's own fluid element? Whatever one's own person or body there exists of karmically acquired liquidity or fluidity, such as bile, phlegm, pus, blood, sweat, fat, tears, all the fluid in the blood mainly. Now look, the blood in the water in the tap and the blood is simply, you can just check that. The water running, the blood that may be flowing in the nerves and the veins. Same, urine, you have it in the bladder and then you go put it in, say, the toilet. First you feel it's like me, my urine. And then when it goes to the toilet with the water, well, what happens to it? So you can see the mind is not a real thing. You get it? This you must get it and you get light. So suddenly when you are practicing like that and you will see your ear, your eye, these are not you. It's just because they come together and your wrong attention, you are getting a sense of eye. And when you begin to notice in them parts, the real parts, now you look at food. When food is touching your tongue, you get consciousness. It tells you this is chocolate, this is something, chutney or whatever. And then while it's touching, you're getting that's consciousness. And when it's no more touching, it's not happening. So it's there only when it is touching. So same when we are only seeing this is existing. Panchupadanaskandha, So there, this is arising. So now when you know like that now, otherwise it's just muck. Muck means you look at someone else eating, do you like to see someone else eating? Does anyone take photographs of people eating? They don't. They take the food of course, but they don't tell, or yes, vomiting, no one takes photographs of vomiting. It is, or the toilet. So this you can see the reality is that because the consciousness comes now, when you cut away that experience, not taste, when you are reflecting like that, your entire connection to the five senses get removed. Now I was doing this practice, I had to do one retreat there, it happened in Australia. They were doing this and suddenly they had this stress, not stress, they were having this what do you call that? Hypertension, I don't know, all these so many hypertension.
Stroke?
No, not stroke, hypertension.
High blood pressure.
All this, a lot of, there's like a anxiety, paranoia, like this all sort of, so many new words, I don't know, psychological, I like to know them, I forget now. They were having one lady also, so she, phobias and this and that, So anyway, she was not in the program. There's one cell phone. The husband has been on the cell phone. She was working somewhere. They all also working. Sometimes night job, day job, this job. So she was hearing the program from the cell phone. Then suddenly something happened to her. This practice was going on, and then she has done it anyway. So later she wanted to come and pay respects, to pay her gratitude. So she came and said, Bante, so I can see, they were, suddenly this was cut away from that connection and all that was depending on this much of drainage of energy. So when she did that, I can understand, just fell off, all that problem psychologically. So she was telling Bante, now also I have to go and, the supervisor is coming today. Normally when it's such a day, I will get gastritis and all these things. But today I don't have anything like that. So it was how, I was just thinking, it was just connected with that. So this much if you let go, that much blessings will be coming to you. So later on, now you could see like the monk, even the children, it's a flesh, part of flesh. But I have no personal experience to relate to a child. I can see from my father and other parents, but I know one great grandma, when the son was dying, she didn't go there. She didn't even have a tear. She was, lighting a lamp and having a japamala. And telling my mother, she used to tell, this is how you practice Satipatthana, the 9 days how the body disintegrates. These pictures she was showing my mother. That means she is always practicing these things. That she's removing the illusion, of we are seeing somebody, it's fresh. Something, a picture, there's no thing like that actually. The final actual reality. So now I give you idea, right? Now if you have I hope you'll have this, get these books. One is Middle and Discourses by Bhikkhu Bodhi, so nice. So if you don't understand Sanskrit, skip that. Go to the other one. And there are interesting ones, apply it and get hold of that meditation object here. And then your master is going to be who? The Buddha. No, the book. Don't show it like a book. It's the Buddha directly. So no one can, this will be safe all the way if you really want to do this.
What's the name of the book?
Sorry? This one is called The Word of the Buddha
By whom?
Gnanaloka. You have?
No, I don't. But I thought the other one is called the Four Noble Truths. It's written by him too.
By Bhikkhu Bodhi?
No, it's a very, very old one. They copied from the library from 1988. That one.
Four Noble Truths, I don't know. But I am talking about this small book.
Okay.
But
It's online.
Sorry?
It's online.
Online?
Yeah,
Maybe, I also don't know. But this is a good book, handy book. It talks about how the eye is formed. Buddha is talking about, and these exercises, if you do, beautiful. You already train your mind. Just take few things. You get a picture. Then little bit Buddha Guna, Metta, meditate. Then read a bit. Like that mix. Then little walking, contemplating what you have read through. You're on the path when you do that. And Middle Discourses by Bhikkhu Bodhi also I recommend. That is, so there are it's like a whole section, so there are mixed suttas. So some you feel not interested, skip them, don't worry. Go to the next one, like that. And 1 month, finish the book. And remember, if you have cancer, if you have all other diseases, or some big, life-threatening big trouble, this is going to burn the problem quickly. I have no time to tell all what happened, it's like, you might think this is only to see Nibbana, and look at Sakka, the king of gods. He was losing his lifespan. Then he was worried, he came to visit the Buddha. And then he attained Sotapanna. That means he had this inside knowledge and saw Nibbana. What happened? He got new lifespan. His wealth, health, everything was again restored. So you don't think it is only some kind of materialistic. Now if you have a job problem, best thing is to meditate. If you have some stress with, so this is unnatural. Normally, for us to be not too worried when there's a worry situation is not natural. But that can be done when we pay attention to the present moment, not to worry before it comes. When you do that, that's not natural. So when you do something unnatural things happen. Those things we call miracles. You understand? I have told one story, I think, first trip. එදා මම කියවනේ එදා මගේ ඔෆිස් එකේදී අර ඩෙඩ්ලයින් එකක් එදා මම කියවේ දිගයි මට කම්මැලි ඔය දිගට. අපිට මහන්සියේ මහතන ආම්දුරනේ ප්‍රෝග්‍රෑම් කීයකද මේක රිපීට් කරන්න නැද්ද? මේ මාතර දවස් දෙක තුනකදී is
and recording it more, it's going to be better.
Yeah, it will be better. Because it's on a certain direction. I'm talking for practice, so it will not be wasted because you get a finer points of how just to focus. This is it you have to do. It's like you are now really climbing a step. And this is the step, this is the step. Simply for who wants to practice. This is for practical purpose. Yes, it's very helpful. If someone wants some entertainment, it will be boring because it's repeated. So we are coming to the last part. Any question? Because if I talk a lot, that blessing power will go away. I can't do it. Today only it came after lunch morning. Morning time. Because this is another thing. I am again, just imagine going to something entirely different. So it's not easy for me to suddenly switch into a kind of sometimes you all might not know what is going on. It's like from here to another world, so to shift. If I go on talking a lot, I notice, I feel sorry, because some, like yesterday over there, they cannot hear, so they miss it, in a way. But they may be having karma also. So I also, it's like a live shot I had to play, I can't fake it, it will either happen or not happen. Any question you want? Now the last?
Question and answer. Can you talk to us a little bit about when one going through the death process and kind of experience and anything, I guess, that we could do to face it better?
Yeah. That's very true, very good. Normally habit works moment of death. I have heard monks going to, sort of give blessings when they are dying. People are dying, they are called. Once I went to one, because I was with another monk. Normally, they will go what they are habituated, like they might search for the keys. Suddenly your keys, or so. But I think today mostly they will search for maybe cell phone, That is, they are so used to this kind of thing. But so now even when I was facing this near death, these 2 times, immediately my habit was to go to the meditation object, but which I am doing daily. Daily I do that observation, and I was preparing, I knew, so the other thought came, I couldn't share enough. But anyway, I was going to go to that. So habit will work. So you can't have crash programs during the death moment, let me quickly meditate a little bit. So what you do daily will come forward. So if you have a daily practice of calming down and keeping virtue, and the other thing is important is to have nothing to regret, to have been remorseful. You must always keep your life clear. So mostly it will come with sometimes certain relationships where you are not considerate and you just are so selfish and you hurt people. You should avoid. One should avoid, and it should be mainly with your parents and other relationships. So on your part, intentionally you must always try that part. And the other way is to think positively. You should never take life you must never have misunderstandings of life. Sometimes certain failures you might think like, oh, I would have done this. It's underneath your heart, this is working. But you have to be corrected. That you have to meet. That for that you have to meet some good person who will show you that all these things happen to your good. Do you know? I have told about one, surgeon. No, not a surgeon. Yeah, a famous surgeon from Bangalore who found a technique to. Like appendicitis, there was the operation, people used to die. Certain nerve was always cut. That nerve was cut and then sometimes the patients died. So he found a technique to separate that nerve and to make the operation safe. It was named after him, I don't know why, I can't remember what it was. He's someone who failed his MBBS 3 times. So someone who passes the MBBS first time, he may be by hook or crook or some luck, he passes. He doesn't master the subject. But when you fail so many times, you master the subject. So when you are failing, you have a lot of problems and failures in life, take it as something to prepare you for greater things. You have to go to they have said bottom of something to go to the highest something. So when the bottom is more, you remember your height is going to be really good, big also. So you ask for a bottom, real bottom, not a... So, can I have a separate glass, another one more glass? I'm going to have some Gilampasa, He's having, so I'm also feeling, let me have some. Okay. Put that. My devotees have made a big robe, so it's just slipping. I don't. They want me to become more fatter, I think. So I'm going to. What is any question you'd like to ask? Anyone else? We are coming to the end of it, but don't worry. You're coming to the some of them have come. Mahatma, the question could have clear the
question I got. So, through Vedana you get not present, unpresent, and neutral, but it's a whole range of Vedana that has equivalent memory.
Basically three. You fall into three. No? Present, unpleasant, neutral. Sorry?
Right, but in reality you have like whole range of anger to desire.
Yeah, that is. We have brothers in it, brothers, sisters.
Right. So those physical sensations will cause mental, equivalent mental.
Physical means no physical really, it's all mental.
It's mental.
Physical is only the physical thing is also mental. Without the mind, we don't even know the physical thing.
Okay.
You understand?
Correct. Yes. So when you get that thought, say you have some desire for something that you've seen, and you connect that to some past event why you have desire for this particular thing because of the past experience. Is it a good idea to go back to the past experience, analyze and try to resolve?
It's a good idea. Yes. This is sometimes with addictions and all that.
Yeah.
Addiction is something that bothers you and you try to keep away, but it's again making it like the reason the desire comes because of the illusion about it. Okay, that's where you're not seeing the clear, your fantasy, there's a fantasy about it. That's a very important one actually, where you have to remove that fantasy. That can be done to an experience you have already gone through. So you must recall that experience. Now I tell about this happening through internet also. I'm just kidding, but this, you can relate it to anything what you also want to.
Right.
So like say some addictions in the internet. Okay. Now sometimes they are addicted to pornography, for example. Now in that is a fantasy that is created. So now say for example to remove that particular this thing, it may be for games even, I don't know. Or any other thing, going to a bar, to a nightclub or anything. So as long as you have that novelty about it, or not only novelty, there's not really knowing exactly what it is, you will get that sort of excitement which release the dopamine. That's where you are getting. So now, for that, what you do, the very important practice, when you are calm like this, you must consciously recall those events. When you consciously recall, now this is your point also, you consciously recall and exactly where it was tempting you or creating that. Or you can go from the beginning itself, how you came to this, what you were going through, imagining it without the experience. And when you are going through, then you are more alert. Without the experience, when you are doing, you are seeing things you will never see before. But they are going to create a counter impression in your brain. It's going to break that surprising aspect, because that fantasy will be removed from them. You'll be noticing certain facts, and after you've done that exercise, you go through exactly what happens to the end of that event. The picture, what was it, how it was, exactly the details. And it creates a sort of a counter, this thing. And next time when you are faced with it, you'll find it will have a big difference. We don't do that exercise normally. So we must recall some things like, and see how that excitement part is taking place. Then what happens when it finishes. Like that, then it makes an impression of what really goes on, and you will get actual facts you'll be noticing. And that noticing things won't be really positive. They'll be negative. And you can know other things also, the damage that has happened, how the brain happens, now this knowledge is also there. Meanwhile, with that experience, how it has opened up a very negative part of your brain, creating engrams, like the entire animalistic bodily this thing. You can picture that. I mean, and then how this gets so damaged, and then it takes weeks and months to repair again, to recover. So like that, you look all aspects you know about it. Then more knowledge, more real this thing. No one has to tell, don't do this. It will happen automatically.
Is it Yathabhuta Jnana Darsana?
That same thing is used for that. The Yoniso Manasikara in another level, We are not using for the... So finally, now some people, for example, they will... now I told how to help, like if you have children, if you have family who are addicted or you want to change them, the only way to do that is you have to change yourself. There's a power, one has not learned to use that power, for example, like in Sri Lanka, they were asking me one thing, like there are so many preachings in the monastery, like in Sri Lanka, many places people are teaching the Dhamma, spiritual things, but nobody is changing. It was their complaint. So I had no answer that time. Then when I recall, later I got the answer. Why the people are not changing when they are so much hearing these teachings? The reason is, who are teaching, they are not pure themselves, not practicing at all. So if you are practicing, there is a mystical force that goes. Gupta balayak kyanava, adhyatmika. We practice karna. That makes the people definitely change. So you can see like Somahandra and all that, they were teaching, people are changing. Because they were having a life, they were in the forest, they will come walking, then he did social work. But if you see monastery to meditate, you can see a routine practice. So they are constantly, that creates ojas again. That creates that pressure, the frontal area is activated. The frontal cortex more is sharpened. More is sharpened, that way you have power to command. You will be doing something in the world. Others, if you lose all from the other parts of the brain, of draining the energy, then you will do something, no one hear, no one feel, nothing. You understand? So if you want to change I have seen who have changed husbands, wives, and children, some are worried, like how to, if you remove one mother, she was very worried the son was going from one gang to the other, he was addicted to heroin. She was known to me very well for a long time. So she couldn't bring the child to him. I mean, no way of contacting. So what she did was she observed 8 precepts and looked at the Bodhi, was focusing on the Bodhi tree and was meditating, just going on like that. And first day, second day, third day, the 7th day the son is coming. Where's Mama? Where's Mama? So many things you will see. If you want to change something outside, you must change yourself. You will see, then you will be tapping that mystical force. Sometimes you want to change somebody, okay? You may be not having the person's attachments, like maybe drinking or all these other negative, strong emotions, but why do you want to change him? That means you are attached to that person. So better you remove that concern for that person. And that you are going a step ahead. But that's not by some hard feelings. That is by seeing the reality of what that experience is and how your mind has got attached to a certain feeling. Once my grandma, this will be the last story, okay? My grandma, she couldn't be consoled. I have another 2 things to demonstrate. My programs are getting longer and longer. අද මොනවද තව තියෙනවද නෑ ඉච්චර.
ඒක තියෙන පොඩි ළමයින්ට පොඩි
එහෙමද මාත්‍ය? මේ ලොකු ළමයි පොඩි ළමයි ඔක්කොම එකයිනේ. ඒකට දැන් මොනවද දෙන්න පුළුවන්? මේ ඇවිත් ඉන්නවද කොහමද නැද්ද?
මේ කට්ටිය තමයි දැන් තුනා. එනවා කියලා තියෙනවා.
මම දන්නේ 4ට තව විනාඩි 15කින් වගේ කට්ටිය නේද?
මම එනම් ඉවර කළා පොඩ්ඩක් කියලා තනි වෙලා ඉන්නෝනේ. එහෙමද දැන්. මගේ බැටරිය charge කරලා. කතා කරලා. පවුලේ මේකට අර කට්ටිය ඔක්කොම දැන් හොඳට ලබාගෙන සතුටින් ඉන්නවා මම හිතන්නේ. මට ඔක්කොම පන්ති ඉම්පෝට් නේද? ඇමරිකාව යුරෝපේ කියලා නේ යන දාන මට ඒගොල්ලන් ඉම්පෝට්. වෙනසක් ගන්න බෑ. ඒක නොකරමින් ඉන්න ඕනේ නැත්නම් දී කොමිඩියන් දෙන්න තියෙන දේ දීලා දාන්න. නැත්නම් ඉන්නේ නැතුව ඉන්න. කවුද මේ දැන් තමයි නියම ක්‍රීම් එක හම්බුනේ නැත්තේ. ඔය ඉබ්බත් වෙලා තමයි ඉන්නේ. lot of work, program after program. But making, if it helps you to, whatever that was driving you, if you, that's something that I will get that merit. That you will save yourself from anything that might distract you. So what I was going to tell?
Was grandmother's story.
Yeah, thank you. So what happened? There she, I had a cousin who was he was a commander. He got a command. He was actually he was a pilot. He was the second pilot. So that plane disappeared. So my cousin, they could find the body, nothing. With 60 commandos. So anyway, my grandma, she couldn't console herself. She was so, so I was in the forest that time and I got a telegram and I came. And then what happened when we were when I came, now that time they were also wondering, like some of my relations were very upset that I'm meditating, like what's my future, like this young person, so they were really worried. They're not doing anything, progressive. So what happened, they were now all affected by this sadness. So they were wondering how this meditating relation will be with it. So I came, I can see the whole house, everybody. Then when we came to, I went to the room, I didn't forget, my mother followed me. And immediately I have a practice. Where to see whether this ear, the eyes is my eyes. If it's my eyes and ears, I should get what I want, the information. But if I'm getting another information beyond my control, it can't be my eyes. So these are ways of analyzing the Buddha has given in the teachings. I have been doing this in the forest while. So when I came, I started to do that quickly. And because now if I don't look like that, I feel this my cousin, my ear, my life, me there. And you'll be affected. So because I have already trained, I tried to do that and I was feeling more peaceful, like another ear. Sampurna, like another sound coming. It's not Gnanaloka. And when I was doing that, my mother was seeing that, my mother was feeling so faith. And like in those days I was not a monk, but she used to worship. And then, but my grandma, later even the other relations were very, they were having a lot of faith how he's, like this meditation is really cool, really good. But then my grandma was not possible to console. She even stops for some days lighting lamp, because they take Buddha like a god. Like I did so much, why I got this suffering? Buddha teaches you, that's why Sri Lanka also, they have never followed real Buddha. They have followed their own Buddhism, you understand? That they have made their own Buddhism, So what happened? I was now, one day I told my grandma, Achi, we call Achi, what is it? When Sia, my grandfather, when he died, you were not upset, Like you told everybody that because you are practicing the spiritual things, that you didn't feel, or you were able to control your mind, you told all the people. I was very young then, when my grandfather died. So she said, of course. Then I said, what about this cousin? Because my cousin is more distant if you didn't have Sia. My grandfather, you not even have cousin. So is the grandfather more close to you, the most closest than the cousin? But why is this difference? She said, no, then I told her, because my cousin, he does a lot of work for you. Like, she's like a handy person, you pay your bills, you do this, do that. So you were getting good feelings from him. So you were missing those feelings. That's why you are very sad, so sad, you can't even accept it. But my grandfather, every evening with little whiskey or brandy, he used to be scolding you like nothing. Like, he all the time, like all his memories and all that, they were from Gaul, he was called like a Hitler. He was so dominating, and so, but he loved me too much, but he was very bad to the whole family, like very funny personality. So my grandmother would just have to sit down and wait, listen to all the... So she would have been waiting when my grandfather was going to die. Definitely. Someone who gives you so much bad feelings, again and again. So where are we attached to? The feelings. So when you begin to know like this particular, then you know the selfishness, that and that we are going behind these particular feelings. So this is something I want to, sometimes you have to see. More you purify and become, self-centered or become self-realized, you'll be going out of these selfish motives. So when you are doing like that, you can help better to your family, your people. I don't know why I told that story. So now, the thing I want to demonstrate, I'm going to drink something. Maybe I have to be thirsty. So I'm going to drink little water from this, okay? This is looking good, a little bit fancy, right? Nice cup, right? Nice fresh water, okay? The cup is there. The ලස්සන cup එකකින් තමයි මම මොන්න වන්දන්නේ. Very nice, cool water. The nice, heavy. Very nice. Let me try the other one. So that is, it's a little lighter, but this plain glass. Try this one. It's nice, equally nice. Little lighter but than the other one. This one is plastic, right? This is really super light. Let's see whether the taste might be different. Very nice. Now, which cup would you like to take? If you want to have this, I have this plastic, this one, and the other one like the glass. Which one will you choose to have your water?
Depending.
Yeah, depending on what.
If you had to take it with you in the car, maybe the light one.
Okay. Alright.
If the water is hot, maybe that one.
Okay. So depend. That's good. It's utility wise, right?
Right.
Alright. But
if you're talking about value wise, or what attract more, is that the question?
No, say you're going to, say for example, now if I now make a so but this was no problem, right?
Right.
You're mentally free, yeah?
Right.
Just imagine, this was, it's a bit of a problem, you have to say sorry sir. Okay? So just imagine, does the taste of the water get changed by any of these cups? No. The same thing is happening. So this is the kind of life one is normally spending here. You understand? It's like, I'm trying to send this point, like, you may be sleeping someplace, but you need to a place just to sleep. And then even you may go in a vehicle, it's just a vehicle you need to go, whether it has to be a Lamborghini or that's not completely. So this I hope, this I think the whole thing in this kind of society, you see, we have different, not only here, everywhere in the world now, in different, like maybe a little more here, that, so you think the purpose, this thing will be same, this education, you get the degree, same degree, this thing, and you can keep it. If you have the plastic cup, no problem, right? You can replace, you have more time, you are mentally free.
Plastic is natural resources.
Yeah. So you can actually, you can use this. So something, I'm not telling only plastic, but sometimes to use a plastic cup, you have like to be poor, you have to spend a lot sometimes. Then be careful, don't eat, be as you are. Sometimes just to discard your, then you're postponing your meditation for a longer time. Leave it, okay. Start immediately. It's not something really you become poor and then you come to Nibbana. These are the only things I'm supporting. Values and attitudes you can have, which you can progress more on this path. That's all I'm trying to stress. Now the last one, just to how to meditate, with to know the sense of how this I is created. Okay? Excuse me, can you call it? Just call it. Just stand up. Just stand there. Just stand. I just want to give some blessings. Okay? Just. Is somebody else behind? Tell him also just to come near the door. Just stand there. Peaceful life, okay? So, another last one, just how to practice. Now I told you about the hard nature like that. Now to do these things, just to make it a little more graphic, but I need hair from somebody, hair donation. You gave yesterday, right? We need a new person today. Your hair is quite...
My hair?
Okay, yes. No need to cut, no, let it be, I'll take it. Okay. You have a good style, but don't worry, no disturbance. Wait. How do you feel here? This one, do you feel is your hair?
Yeah.
Okay. He feels this is his hair. It's not a wig. Now, this one, how much you feel is yours?
No.
Not at all. Just imagine how fast it became not my hair. Just because it was in this space, just this area, so much that identification, the sense of I was so strong. Just so minutes, in a few minutes, just put it here. The same thing, all the time not yours. So this something, this scissors should be the analyzing and discriminating. This has to be a practice. So this in your brain you have to make these scissors, where you separate and this thing. So this is exercise you have to do. So if someone is coding, something is happening, or some praise even, you already have trained the mind to see it, and that's the exercise you have to specially do. So now just to make it graphic only, I did like that. Those days when the hair was cut, they became enlightened. So they were so sensitive and they were really watching to nature. And they were very experts of having wisdom in the past. Today we are experts of being intelligent and not wise. even crooked and all that. With all the defilements, we are getting some kind of knowledge today, not purity and knowledge. Pure and knowledge is wisdom. So, I have come to the end of the program. Okay? So, I'll just do the 5 minutes certain meditation. And I'll give the last blessings. And after the blessings, I'll be going inside only some few people, someone having some. I got to know I have only tomorrow only, better I program it.
Anita Dina Swami answer question and answers personal. Yeah.
So today is like the
main thing. Yeah. Other one is in Sacramento.
It's a little bit rest for me. No? Then Texas lasts for 3-4 days. Then Canada, then English.
No, it's Georgia.
Georgia, okay. That's 2 days or something.
Yes.
You know the whole program, no?
Yes, because I arranged the Florida also.
Florida?
Yes.
I'm going to Florida also?
No, not Florida, Georgia.
Georgia. So you were in the Georgia, okay. Texas?
Texas, I told some other people and they couldn't.
So thank you so much. Actually for me, even when I'm going today, to the path and I was going that way, I was so happy that I was able to do here. Just to give what I have to do something. Something to all of them. All these people. So all of you have done a lot of good karma. Give me the opportunity to really, this is one of my purpose. I always thought it's just not for me to attain Nibbana or do this. I always tell a Nibbana that is not experienced by others, I don't want it also. I have not come to eat this pudding alone. Please come, whoever is possible. You can't think of all people or something. Just you must first establish and definitely share it as many as possible. Human beings. So we do this practice, just relax. Pay nicely to the sounds you're hearing. Relax and hear the sounds. Nicely pay attention to the sounds. Meanwhile, relaxing. When you're relaxing and paying attention, you can just feel a touch in your ears, a vibration. Anyone feeling wet? No need to meditate. Just open your eyes. Can you do like this? Just a little bit. Just not like this, like this. I know you're not shy, I'm not shy, so how much you are? The blood will start to flow through your nerves fully, Because today, our bodies are not like the past. It has been very, so now when we try to normally meditate, we are stiff and meditative. Already we are not relaxed in the body. So when we start to do, we have a discomfort in the body. The blood is not flowing properly. So that's normally the old way is called Kaya Viveka, then Chitta Viveka. Kaya Viveka means restfulness of the body, then the Chitta mind can relax. So I'm just doing a crash program with you all. I don't need this. I created this and I will create more things to how to modify, to suit for you all. To at least you must get it now. You must experience it. So at least you learn to really relax the body and enjoy whatever posture you are seated. That you must learn. So you enjoy the moment. You don't try to run away for a future or a past. Living in escapism, that is called. Don't become escapism. And you escape more into a fantasy. So you're always leaving the reality and Yatha Bhuta. Watch that. So now pay again attention to the sounds. Not to resist, not to really try to listen. Wait for a sound. The coughing sound. The talking sound. The coughing sound. Meanwhile, relaxing. While you are relaxing, when you are trying to pay attention like that, you will notice something natural happening in your body. A function happening, you'll be noticing. It should come naturally, that noticing. What is that? You are in-breathing and out-breathing. Not anapanasati or anything. I'm not telling you to do this. Just naturally you'll be watching, noticing your chest, inhaling and exhaling. How you're breathing, in other words. All the time relax. All the time, without any heaviness in the head, holding to nothing, expecting nothing. While you are doing that, you picture yourself looking at your body from outside. Like you're seated, you're looking from up, how you're seated. Like in my case, robes are being put, I am wearing robe. Picture the robe being dressed to you. In your case, maybe t-shirt, jacket, jersey. How you're wearing it. While you're watching like that, now you go to contemplating. Say you are reading a book. You can do like this when you're lying down. You have the Dhamma book, maybe Satipatthana. Now you apply it. So the master says one place, Rupam Bhikkhave, Rupa Vedana Sanya Sankhara Vijnanam Bhikkhave, Anitya. He asked like the Rupa Vedana Sanya Sankhara Vijnanam, Nityam Vatam Sukham Vati. Nityam Vatam Anitya. Bhikkhave Nityam Vatam Nityam Bhakti. Nityam Vatam Anityam. The master is asking whether the body is permanent or impermanent. Now you are watching the body dressed up with jersey or whatever. So you are not going to repeat something you have read or heard or something from the past. This should be your own observation. You learn to relax, not consider whether you are in a hall or with the people. Think you are in a cave, in solitude. Though you know the body, if you look at it in a conventional truth, even after a long period, it is going to finish, end. It's not going to be forever. There's nobody who has stayed forever. When you get a personal picture of that, you must answer the Buddha, Anityam Bhante. Yampan Anityam Dukkam Vatam Sukham Vati. What is impermanent? It is happiness or sad. So you must think, if it is going to end, definitely this body. Even if you had a very good life, good experience, it's bound to finish means there will be sadness. So you should answer the Master, Dukkam Bhante. Yampananityan Dukkam Viparinamatamam Kallanutam Samanapasidum Etam Mama Yesoham Asmi Yesomi Attati. What is impermanent, subject to change. Can you call this? This is me, this is myself. So you must picture what changes, what has this nature. Can you call this? This is my real person. No etam bhakti. You will see this like another person, a separate thing. You will feel lighter, more peaceful. Like you are looking at somebody else. If you do this in a deeper way, you might even attain Nibbana. More silencing, you contemplate. To let go everything that is impermanent. And suffering, not a self in it. Do not cling to anything. Your mind will be so cool. How blissful it is to experience this. May I experience this more and more. Just like me, all the people in this room may experience it. Not only these people in the room, all who are around here, the monks, the neighbors, like you're going in a helicopter, entire San Francisco, like ants, Texas, North America, California, state, Arizona, Colorado, entire North America, Canada, Central America, South America. all human beings there, may they have this peace of mind. Not only them, England, Europe, Africa, Mediterranean, China, Sri Lanka, India, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Australia, entire planet, all the human beings, like you're looking from space. Not only human being, animals, suffering hells, Vedarani, Paduma, Avicci, the lowest worlds, then the angels, Chatumaharaj, Tavatim, Chatusitayana, Nimatarati. They have less greed, hate and delusion, made completely disappear. Brahma Purohita, Brahma Parisajja, Mahabrahma, Vehapala, Basrakanita, Brahmaloka. They have no greed, no hate, but they have delusion. The sense of I, sense of me, subtlest way. Even when that disappears, with the knowledge of conditionality, like the Arahants, may that happen very soon. From the highest worlds to the lowest worlds, and in between, we can do that at home more. We come to the end of it. I know you like to do it maybe. So, just give my blessings. Something I also give you now more. Only thing I told last time that try to do the meditation today evening like that. You will keep that energy with you, and in the night you get more certain blessings. You talk and mingle a lot, you lose that. That's why if I have program only this, then I'll be going to a room where I am, just to protect myself and keep doing another practice. If you do like that, you will get something without getting exposed to this too much. What you really have to do. So finally everything has to come to an end. And anyone, if they have any particular real, still something that worries them, you can slightly raise your hand. Okay. Anyone else? Nobody, no? You feel paper.
So those two people we are going to.
Okay. Yeah, they can come. I mean, they have some really. Okay. But everybody, even including them and everybody, I asked like that just to get my strength actually. Because some things work only when there's a lot of dangerous situation, I get some more things. So you have to put me into challenging situations if you want to get something more out of me. So when just for my purpose only I asked if anyone have. But I have some interesting things today remembering. Even outside, a lot of people going through a lot of suffering. Really. Chased by the police, addicted to drugs, to keep them going. What a life. Even respectable people become homeless suddenly. Conditions come. Now these human beings get in touch with the Master's teaching without delay practice, so that they will come to a safe zone, never to come to suffering, but will go from happiness to happiness, to highest peace. Entire San Francisco sounds suffering with AIDS, lot of this area, I think I have heard before, San Francisco. Bay Area is somewhere far away,
It's called the Bay Area.
This whole area. Utman Mahasala Uttama Darshini Bhumit Jainska Satya Tumarini Satya Daskana Vijata Esvagan